I was given notice of this over the weekend. This is huge, all right? A historic judgment on a lawsuit coming out of Missouri seems to affirm what we've known for a long time, that COVID-19 pandemic, that it began in China, and the information was suppressed by China. They tried to cover it up. The lawsuit was filed by the state of Missouri against Chinese entities, including the Chinese Communist Party and the Wuhan Institute. The judgment, worth $24 billion, says that the state proved that China caused and exacerbated the COVID-19 pandemic, harming Missourians. So what does this mean for Missouri and for America? Will this open a floodgate of other lawsuits against China, and will China pay? Well, here to answer those questions is the Attorney General for the state of Missouri, Andrew Bailey, who filed the lawsuit. A.G. Bailey, welcome back to Washington Watch. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you having me on.
Well, you've been busy. Provide a little more detail on this court case that you've won against China for unleashing COVID on the world.
Well, Tony, look, Americans and certainly Missourians are still demanding justice for all the harms inflicted upon them during the COVID-19 pandemic. We know it started in China. We know that they suppressed information that was relevant to the world's reaction to unleashing that pandemic on the rest of us. And then they created and hoarded the PPE that the state of Missouri and other states needed to respond to the pandemic. We were harmed to the tune of $24 billion, and that's what the court has now found. My predecessor, Eric Schmidt, initially filed the lawsuit. It was dismissed at the trial court level. I appealed, won at the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals, and we just had a trial in late January where we put on all the evidence, and the court agreed that Missourians are owed $24 billion with a B dollars by the Chinese Communist Party and all the entities named as defendants because of the wrongs. And there's a method by which this is redressed. It's called the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. It was a statute passed by Congress in 1976, signed into law by President Gerald Ford, that specifically allows states to redress grievances against foreign entities. And I'm never going to stop fighting for justice for Missourians based on the wrongs perpetrated during COVID-19.
I mean, there's several questions come to mind, General Bailey. One is, you did this, why didn't our federal government do it? But of course, we know we had an administration that was favorable to China. But secondly, I think this is the first that we've seen. So you're the very first that has successfully sued and won a case against communist China. Do you think others will follow your lead?
Yeah, certainly this is a blueprint for other states to follow. And again, it's not some crackpot legal theory. There's a federal statute on the books that allows the states to do this. I would encourage all the states to look at how their apparatus of state government performed during COVID and the wrongs that were perpetrated by the Chinese government against them, and redress those grievances on behalf of the people of their states. We know that the Biden administration was complicit in the cover-up during COVID. I mean, from the start to the finish of the Biden administration, when they were censoring speech related to COVID on big tech social media platforms, thereby exacerbating the harms of the pandemic, to Biden's final hours of pardoning Dr. Anthony Fauci, who, again, many Americans look to as the poster child for all the wrongs of COVID-19. And so it is important for states to take action. It's important for Missouri to lead the way, and I'm proud to have done so in this instance.
Well, for China, this is an ill-fortune cookie because, I mean, this is a $26 billion just for the state of Missouri. Now, will they pay, or $24 billion, will they pay? And if not, how can you get this from China?
Well, it's a great question. I remain skeptical that China will actually pay this judgment. I mean, they never participated in litigation despite the fact that they're doing business in Missouri, doing business across the United States of America, and thus are subjecting themselves to the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. They declined to participate in the litigation despite the fact that they were served with notice and had an opportunity to put on any defenses. I don't think they have any mitigating evidence, and that's why they didn't participate. They know that they did wrong. They know they harmed Missourians in the United States of America and the entire world. And they're going to try to get out of paying by running and hiding. But we're going to find Chinese-owned assets in Missouri and across the United States of America, and we're going to use the legal apparatus of the state and federal government to seize and sell those assets to execute that judgment that we've now obtained to the tune of $24 billion.
So let's talk about those assets. I mean, we're not talking about the products on Walmart shelves that are all made in China. We're talking about they own farmland. They own industries. I mean, they've bought up a lot of hard assets in the United States.
China is heavily invested in real and personal property in the United States of America, and certainly they have used subterfuge to conceal the line of ownership of several of those assets. We will penetrate that subterfuge, find those responsible, hold them accountable, take those assets, and again, sell them to make Missourians whole again. Missouri's owed a debt here, and China's going to pay up on that debt one way or the other.
A final question for you, General Bailey. What's the time frame on this? When do you believe you could actually start seizing some of this property?
Well, there's a short period of time in which the court allows that judgment to sit and any notices of appeal to be filed before the judgment becomes final. We're waiting on that clock to expire. It's a matter of a few weeks. And then we'll start identifying assets and moving to seize those assets. China needs to do the right thing and pay the people of the state of Missouri. But if they fail to do so, we will be prepared to take action. We'll do so hastily.
Well, this could be huge, and I hope it's just the first of many dominoes to fall, because I hope, as you've led in so many other areas as the Attorney General of Missouri, I hope other states will follow your lead here as well. General Bailey, thanks so much for joining us today, and again, congratulations on another win.
Thanks, Tony. I appreciate you.